Picture this moment. A person takes their final breath. The room falls silent. Medical equipment flatlines. But according to philosophers and spiritual thinkers throughout history, this isn't an ending. It's the beginning of the most profound transformation imaginable. What if everything we think we know about death is backwards? The philosophy of consciousness, beyond the body. For centuries, great minds have pondered a fundamental question. What is consciousness? And can it exist without the physical brain? Plato described the soul as imprisoned in the body, waiting for liberation. Eastern philosophers speak of consciousness as eternal, merely changing vehicles like someone switching cars. Modern near-death research has given us fascinating glimpses into this mystery. People report floating above their bodies, observing medical procedures with crystal clarity, seeing things they couldn't possibly know. These experiences challenge our materialist assumptions about consciousness being produced by the brain. What if the brain is more like a radio receiver than a generator? When the radio breaks, the signal doesn't disappear. It simply broadcasts elsewhere. This shift in awareness isn't sudden like flipping a switch. Think of it as consciousness gradually changing frequencies, like tuning into a different radio station. The signal was always there. We're just accessing a different channel of reality. The 3 stages of philosophical awakening. Ancient wisdom traditions describe this transition in 3 distinct phases, each with its own philosophical significance. The recognition. In those first moments after physical death, consciousness faces its greatest philosophical challenge, recognizing its own nature. Without the familiar anchor of the body, awareness must confront what it truly is. Am I my thoughts, my memories, my relationships? This existential crisis mirrors what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. But now it's lived experience, not theory. Many souls, still identifying with their former physical existence, attempt to continue their earthly routines. They try to speak to loved ones, touch familiar objects, return to their homes, but nothing responds. This creates what we might call ontological shock, the jarring realization that your fundamental mode of being has shifted. The review philosophy has always emphasized the examined life. Socrates famously declared that the unexamined life is not worth living. In the second phase, consciousness engages in the ultimate philosophical exercise, a complete review of existence with perfect clarity. But here's the profound difference. This is an intellectual analysis. The soul experiences the moral weight of every action from multiple perspectives. If you cause pain, you feel that pain as the victim experienced it. If you brought joy, you relive that joy through the eyes of those you touched. This is ethics made visceral, moral philosophy experienced directly rather than debated abstractly. This process isn't about judgment from an external authority. It's about understanding the interconnectedness of all experience, the way every choice ripples through the web of existence. Eastern philosophy calls this karma, but it's not punishment, it's education. The liberation, the final stage, represents what philosophers have long dreamed of: true freedom, not political freedom or even emotional freedom, but ontological freedom. Freedom from the illusion of separation that defined physical existence. In this state, consciousness recognizes its true nature. The boundaries that seemed so real between self and other, between past and present, between love and beloved, are revealed as constructs of limited perception. This is what mystics, throughout history have pointed toward. The recognition that individual consciousness is a wave in an infinite ocean of awareness. The philosophy of grief and connection. But what about those left behind? Philosophy offers profound insights into the nature of grief and continuing bonds. The Stoics taught that we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about events. When we cling desperately to someone who has died, we're clinging to our own mental constructs, not to the person themselves. True love, according to this view, doesn't seek to possess or control. It celebrates the beloved's highest good, even when that means letting them go. The emotions of the living create what we might call energetic drag. Thoughts and feelings that can keep consciousness tethered to frequencies it has outgrown. This doesn't mean we shouldn't grieve. Grief is love with nowhere to go, and it's natural and necessary. But there's a difference between honoring our love and trying to change someone to our pain. The first is beautiful. The second is a form of spiritual selfishness. The practical philosophy of living understanding. This transition changes how we approach life itself. If consciousness continues beyond physical death, then our choices carry weight beyond this lifetime. Every act of kindness or cruelty becomes part of an eternal record written in the fabric of reality itself. This perspective encourages what philosophers call memento mori, remembering death not to become morbid, but to live with greater intention. When we truly grasp that consciousness is eternal and our choices matter beyond this life, we naturally begin to live with more compassion, more presence, more awareness of our impact on others. Closing reflection. The great philosophical question isn't whether consciousness survives death. It's whether we're truly conscious while we're alive. Are we awake to the miracle of existence, or are we sleepwalking through our days? Are we growing in wisdom and compassion, or are we trapped in cycles of unconscious reaction? The transition we call death might simply be consciousness finally waking up fully, like emerging from a vivid dream into a more expansive reality. And if that's true, then every moment of this life is an opportunity to begin that awakening now. The next time you look into someone's eyes, remember, you're not just seeing a body, you're encountering eternal consciousness, temporarily wearing a physical form, having a human experience. And that recognition, that philosophical shift in perception, might be the beginning of your own great transition, right here, right now. What if death isn't the opposite of life, but life's graduation ceremony? The question isn't what happens when we die, it's whether we're truly living while we're alive.